Have you ever walked into your own home and felt more overwhelmed than welcomed? The dishes are stacked, the shoes are scattered, and even though you're finally off your feet, your mind keeps racing. I used to think the clutter was just physical, until I visited an old friend in Kyoto. His home was barely the size of my garage, but the moment I stepped in, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Calm. Not because it was fancy, but because it breathed. That night, over warm tea and quiet conversation, he shared with me 5 simple rules the Japanese live by. Not to impress guests, but to live lighter, deeper, and more at peace. And today, I want to share them with you, because maybe the home you long for isn't a bigger house. It's a quieter way of living. Let's begin. I remember visiting my mother's house last spring. She's in her 70s now, lives alone since Dad passed. Her home hasn't changed much. Same cozy kitchen, same floral curtains. But something did feel different that day. The counters were piled with unopened mail. 3 pairs of shoes lined the hallway. Her dining table, buried beneath newspapers, receipts, and a stack of old birthday cards. She looked at me and sighed. I don't know how it got this way. It just happened. And isn't that how clutter creeps in? Not with a bang, but with a whisper. A few extra things we don't put away. A chair that holds yesterday's laundry. A box in the garage we never unpacked. And before we know it, the house we love begins to feel heavy. But here's the thing. Clutter isn't just a housekeeping issue, it's emotional. We hold on to things because they remind us of better times. Or because we're afraid we'll need them someday. Or simply because we don't have the energy to decide where they belong. Researchers have found that clutter increases stress hormones, especially in women. It makes us feel out of control in our own space, like life is always a little bit behind. And yet, in Japan, even the tiniest homes, some barely 200 square feet, somehow feel serene. Why? Because they don't just manage clutter, they prevent it. With one quiet, powerful rule: everything has its place. Let's explore what that really means, and how it can change not just your home, but how your home takes care of you. In the quiet suburbs of Osaka, there's a retired schoolteacher named Mr. Sato. He lives in a modest home, 2 rooms, a narrow hallway, and a tiny garden. No big furniture, no fancy decor. But every time I visit, I feel welcomed. Not by him. He's a man of few words. But by his space. The umbrella always rests in a stand by the door. His keys sit in a small lacquered dish, never lost. The teacups are neatly aligned on an open shelf, like they're waiting for the next conversation. It's as if every object in his home knows where it belongs. And because of that, he belongs there too. The Japanese call this principle te no aru kurashi, a life where the hands create harmony. It's not about perfection, it's about respect for your space, your things, and yourself. Imagine if your home greeted you like that. If your coat had a place to rest, your mail had a drawer to live in, and your phone charger wasn't always disappearing. It's not about control, it's about kindness. Because when everything has its place, you don't waste energy searching. You don't feel like your home is working against you. You begin to feel supported by the space around you. It's like your house is quietly saying, I've got you. So how do you begin? Start small. Pick 3 things you use every day. Your wallet, your phone, your reading glasses. Give each one a designated spot, not a random place, a real home. And notice how something shifts, how coming home starts to feel like returning to yourself. But there's another secret to that peaceful feeling. And it's not what you add, it's what you leave empty. Let's step into that space next. When I first entered a traditional Japanese tea room, I thought something was missing. The walls were bare. The shelves held only a single ceramic bowl. Even the scroll on the wall had just one brush stroke. At first, I felt unsure. But then, something strange happened. I started to breathe deeper. My eyes rested. My shoulders dropped. It was as if the room, by holding back, was inviting me in. There's a word in Japanese for this powerful stillness, ma. the space between things. But it's more than empty air. It's the pause in music that makes the melody meaningful, the silence in a conversation that allows words to sink in, the white space that gives shape to a painting. In Western culture, we often fear emptiness. An empty shelf feels unfinished. A blank wall begs to be filled. A pause in conversation makes us uncomfortable. But in Japan, emptiness is sacred. It's not absence, it's presence. Room to breathe, room to reflect, room to simply be. And our homes, they need that too. A cluttered countertop isn't just visually noisy, it's mentally loud. Our eyes scan, our minds tally. And suddenly, we're thinking about what's missing, what's broken, what we should clean up. But when you leave space, intentionally, reverently, your home becomes a place that listens. Try this simple shift. Take one surface in your home, a shelf, a nightstand, a coffee table, and remove half of what's on it. Don't rush to fill it again. Let it breathe. Let yourself breathe. Because sometimes, peace isn't in what we put into a room, it's in what we choose to leave out. And just as space brings stillness, movement can bring care. Let's explore how small daily rituals, like cleaning, can become moments of quiet joy. In the early mornings of Kyoto, you'll often see shopkeepers outside, sweeping the street not just in front of their stores, but the sidewalk, the curb, even a bit of their neighbor's space. They move slowly, with quiet hands and calm focus, not rushed, not resentful, as if they're greeting the day with each gentle stroke of the broom. In Japan, cleaning isn't punishment. It's not a to-do on a guilt-ridden weekend list. It's a practice, a pause, a way of saying, this space matters, and so do I. When I stayed with a host family in a small town outside Nara, they folded their laundry together in silence each evening. Not because folding is fun, but because it was their way of winding down, of caring for what cares for them. The father polished the sink each night, even though no one would see it. The mother wiped the dining table as if tucking it in for sleep. It was beautiful, not because their home was spotless, but because every act of cleaning was done with affection. And here's the shift. What if cleaning wasn't something we had to survive, but something we could savor? Not in some romantic, unrealistic way, but in the smallest of gestures. Wiping the counter while breathing slowly, making the bed as a gift to your future self, rinsing the coffee cup while watching the sun rise through the window. Cleaning doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be deliberate. And when it is, it changes your relationship with your home, from one of maintenance to one of care. So tomorrow morning, before the noise of the day begins, try sweeping a small corner. Not to finish a chore, but to begin a ritual. Because the way we care for our space is often a mirror of how we care for ourselves. And speaking of space, what happens when your home finally has room to move, to breathe, because there's simply less in it? Let's discover the beauty of flow in the next rule. There was a time when I thought a full room meant a full life. A couch big enough for 6, even if only 2 lived there. A coffee table so heavy, it never moved. Not even during holidays. Every wall filled, every corner claimed. It wasn't until I visited a tiny home in Okinawa that I understood what space to live actually means. The living room had one low table, no couch, just floor cushions that could be tucked away. Sliding doors replaced bulky room dividers, and when dinner ended, everything disappeared into the walls. The space was fluid, alive. It adjusted with their needs. A room for tea in the morning, a place to nap by noon, and a wide, empty floor where grandchildren danced by evening. Their furniture didn't dominate, it served. And that changed the way I saw my own home. I started asking new questions. Why do I walk around this chair every single day? Why do I keep this cabinet I never open? Is this piece of furniture helping me live better, or just taking up space? The Japanese approach isn't about minimalism as an aesthetic, it's about mobility, breathing room, the freedom to move, to stretch, to be. Think of your home like a river. If you drop too many stones into it, the water gets stuck. But with the right balance, the current flows, smooth, strong, peaceful. So here's a gentle invitation. Walk through your space today. Notice any spot where your body shifts, squeezes, or detours. That's a clue. Maybe it's time to remove one item, or simply reposition it. Because when your home flows, your life does too. And just as homes need movement, they also need rhythm. A quiet pulse that changes with the seasons, reminding us we're part of something bigger. Let's explore that gentle dance. Next. When I was a child, my grandmother had a tradition I didn't understand. Every season, she'd rearrange her home, just a little. In spring, she swapped the dark, heavy curtains for light linen ones. In summer, out came the seashell bowl and pale blue tablecloth. Autumn brought dried leaves in glass jars. And winter, always a candle with cinnamon. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. It was just her way of keeping the house in tune. With nature, with time, with life. And now I realize she was practicing what the Japanese do so naturally, seasonal rotation. In Japanese homes, the living space shifts with the seasons. Not by buying more, but by revealing less. Thick blankets are tucked away in summer. Bamboo mats replace plush rugs. A single branch of plum blossoms marks the arrival of spring. It's not decoration, it's awareness. It's honoring the present moment through your surroundings. Because when your home reflects the rhythm of nature, you feel more connected to time itself. You stop rushing through seasons and start living them. And here's the beauty. You don't need to renovate. You don't even need to spend a dime. You can start with a basket, a simple basket that lives in your closet. Each season, you place into it a few items that reflect the world outside. A scarf in winter, a sprig of lavender in summer, a family photo from autumn's past. Little reminders that life is always changing, and that change can be beautiful. Because a home that evolves stays alive. And just like nature doesn't hold on to all its leaves year-round, we too can learn to release. Now let's take a deeper look at what our homes are really telling us, not just through what they hold, but how they reflect who we are. A few months ago, a close friend called me in tears. She'd just lost her husband of 40 years. After the funeral, her house, once filled with warmth, suddenly felt like a museum of memories. Too quiet, too full. She whispered, "I don't know where to begin. I feel like my house is stuck, just like me." And I told her something I'd once been told in Japan. Your home is not just where you live, it's how you're living. The things we keep, the way we arrange them, even the clutter we avoid. They're all small reflections of our inner world. A home overwhelmed with unopened boxes might belong to someone carrying unresolved chapters. A room full of things just in case may hint at a heart afraid to let go. And sometimes, an overly tidy house can speak of someone who's trying hard to stay in control when life feels anything but. This isn't about judgment, it's about compassion. For yourself. Because every item in your home, kept or discarded, displayed or hidden, tells a story. And the beauty is, you can begin a new chapter anytime. When my friend finally felt ready, she didn't start with a garage sale. She started with one shelf. She kept what made her smile and gently let go of what made her ache. Over time, her home softened, not just physically, but emotionally. Now, when I visit her, I don't just see tidier rooms. I see her reclaiming space for joy, for books she loves, photos she's proud to frame, and fresh flowers on the table, not for guests, but for herself. So take a quiet walk through your own home tonight, not with a critical eye, but with curiosity. What does your space say about the season you're in? And what might it look like if you gave yourself permission to change? Because sometimes healing doesn't start in the heart, it starts in the hallway. And before we close, let's revisit the 5 simple Japanese principles that can gently guide us back home, to ourselves. So here we are, 8 rooms of thought, 5 quiet rules, and maybe, just maybe, a new way to see the space you call home. Let's remember them together. Give everything a place so your mind can rest. Leave space to breathe so your spirit doesn't feel crowded. Clean as a ritual, not a punishment. Let furniture serve your life, not shape it. And let your home dance with the seasons, not stand still in time. You don't need to follow all 5. You don't need to do them perfectly. In fact, don't. Just choose one corner, one surface, one habit, and notice what shifts, not just around you, but within you. Because at the end of the day, true organization isn't about matching bins or color-coded drawers. It's about peace, the kind you feel when you walk through your front door and your shoulders finally drop. When you pour your tea, sit in silence, and feel your house say, "You're safe, you're home." And if even one of these ideas spoke to you today, tell me in the comments, which rule felt like it was written just for you? And if you're curious what comes next, you might want to stick around. Because this journey toward peaceful living, we're only just beginning.